Aquarius, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name is Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Aquarius love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. So let's get going here. It's the mutual point of interest. Okay, cool. What's going on with you, Aquarius? It's been a minute. I've been sick, dealing with health problems, so I feel 100% better now. Apparently, we had a problem with our furnace, and it was putting a bunch of carbon monoxide into the air, and it took me months to figure out that's what the problem was. So luckily, the furnace isn't running anymore because it's warming up. So what's going on with your person, Aquarius? What's going on with Aquarius's romantic person of interest as it relates to Aquarius and the connection between them? Let's get one more here, please. Okay, thank you. All right, well, buckle up. The overall energy of this reading. Six of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is supposed to represent balance. It's supposed to represent generosity, reciprocity. In other words, you scratch my back and I'll scratch your back and we take care of each other and it's equal give and take. Based on what I'm seeing out here, I really doubt that's what it's trying to talk about here. The other meaning to this card is it can represent the merchant giving to two, as in I'm physically giving to one person and I've got another person kind of tucked away behind my back and I'm giving to two people physically. Yeah, I think that might be where we're headed here with this one, because behind that Six of Pentacles, the underlying energy of that is the Ace of Pentacles, and this represents a new physical, tangible opportunity presenting itself. This is the seed of abundance. Now, this is something that has the potential to grow into the Ten of Pentacles, which would be like combining lives together, building a life together. It is not the Ten of Pentacles in and of itself. Like any ace, this is something, it's an opportunity. It's something that you have to grab and you have to like do something with it. Otherwise, it just represents empty potential. So we have a new physical opportunity presenting itself in the background. And in front of that, we have what looks like an idea of someone giving to two people here. Yeah, you can't make this up. Below the surface of that physical opportunity is the Three of Cups. This is Cancer energy. This has got two meanings. First meaning is this can be about being united and celebrating, or even being reunited and celebrating. The other meaning, and it looks like that's where we're going here, is we have three cups of love present in the picture. So it can represent a love triangle type thing where some other person has been brought into this connection. That's the gist of what it looks like this is going to talk about. We might come back to that if we need to as we go through the reading. This represents the mutual point of interest between the two of you. Now, this is energy that affects you both in some way. It doesn't always affect you the same way. Sometimes they will do something, they will do this, and you'll feel the consequences of it. Sometimes they will say or do something and it makes you feel or act this way, or vice versa. Sometimes it's legitimately some external thing that's having an effect on both of you. This mutual point of interest is the Queen of Cups. Now, this is Cancer energy. This represents someone who has a lot of love and emotions to give. And in a standard Rider-Waite tarot deck, like I'm going to use to clarify with, the Queen of Cups is the only character that has a lid on top of her cup. And she does that as a way to protect herself emotionally. She's trying to prevent anything from getting in her emotions and contaminating her. And she does that because she's been hurt previously and she's trying not to get emotionally hurt again. What she really wants to do is take the lid off of her cup and pour her love into someone. She just has to be guarded and hesitant for some reason. So we've got that kind of an energy here as the shared energy. Now, you're Aquarius, you're an air sign. I would probably expect to see Queen of Swords for you before I see Queen of Cups. Now, that doesn't mean you can't embody the Queen of Cups energy. The tarot deck is really 78 cards, and each one of them is some element of the human experience, what it means to be human. So we all have every one of these energies inside of us because we're all humans. So you're every bit capable of being the Queen of Cups. And if so, if that's what this means, this could be talking about how much love you have for this person and that they get love and emotions from you. Could also reference that you have to be guarded and you want to pour your love into them, and there's something that's happened that's making you hesitant to do that, making you keep the lid on your cup. This could also represent the person that there's this giving to two people with, this new physical opportunity, or this new cup of love that's showing up. So let me clarify that for you, and we'll see what it's trying to tell you. Tell me about this Queen of Cups, please. Oh, that was pretty quick and painless. Below the surface of that Queen of Cups, Six of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of the past. So this can be thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way things used to be between the two of you. It can represent a deep emotional connection, but it references the past. So this can also mean that there's something from the past coming back up again or happening again, or even a person from the past showing back up. I've got the High Priestess below that. This is she who knows. She represents the unconscious mind. She represents your intuition, your internal knowing, the gut feelings that you have about something, where you know something, but you don't have any actual way of knowing it. It's more like a feeling or a hunch. Usually, when your intuition is trying to tell you something, it's usually trying to tell you something that you don't really want to hear. And without facts to support it, what most of us do is we try to push that intuition off to the side and like, no, that can't be right. We try to sweep it under the rug. We try to pretend like it's not there. But this showing up here indicates that your intuition is telling you something. Whether you want to hear it or not, whether you're listening to it or not, is a whole different story. But you have a hunch, you have some internal knowing about something. And behind the surface of that, we have the Page of Pentacles. Now, pages are messengers. So this represents news and messages and communications about some physical, tangible opportunity presenting itself. We saw that Ace of Pentacles that he's carrying, 2 cards down in the overall energy, some physical opportunity. So this can represent communications happening about a physical opportunity. And in that kind of a scenario, that's usually like, hey, I'm going to be at X location at Y time. We should meet up, and then we'll have the physical opportunity to do something. That could be something that there is a history of happening here, and maybe your spidey senses are tingling and you have this idea that maybe there's some communications happening that shouldn't be happening. The other thing the Page of Pentacles can represent is an early stage plan for the future, a plan that's not fully developed all the way yet, and having some sort of an intuition hit about that. That's below the surface of the Queen of Cups, and I guess it makes me reference the Queen of Cups again here because the Queen of Cups is the most intuitive queen in the deck. Like, to me, the 2 most powerful intuition cards in the deck are this High Priestess, and then second would be this Queen of Cups. And we've seen both of them already, so I'm pretty well convinced at this point your intuition's telling you something. When I clarify Queen of Cups, I get 5 of Cups, King of Swords, and the Emperor. 5 of Cups is more Scorpio energy. This is sadness and remorse about the past. It's regrets, it's negative emotions about something from the past. Now, the person on the card, they're wearing all black, they're mourning, their body language is depressed and looking down, and what they're doing is they're focusing on these 3 cups that have been spilled. That represents all the emotions that have been spilled and wasted, all the time, effort, and energy that's been spilled and wasted. Behind them are 2 upright cups, and those cups are still full, and that represents the other thing that I could be happy about. And really at the core of what this card is about whatever you focus on is literally going to dictate to you what emotions you experience. So if you're focused on the past, you're going to feel what you felt in the past. I've got that reference to the past here again, and your intuition tingling about something from the past. If you focus on the loss of something, the cups being spilled, you're going to feel that loss. If you're focused on something that you feel is missing from your life, you're going to feel that gap from your life. But you do have a choice here, and you get to choose where you place your focus. And I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but it's kind of like working with a puppy to potty train it, like you're going to have to show it that, you need to go potty outside, and it's going to sniff around on the carpet and try to pee on the carpet anyway. You just have to stay vigilant. You have to stay on top of it and keep showing it where you want it to go. And eventually it will get it and it will stay there. And your focus is kind of the same way. Naturally, like the 3 cups are bigger than the 2 cups. It weighs more when you lose something important to you. So naturally, your focus is automatically going to try to go to the loss of this thing. But you do have things you could be happy about. And this is telling you, pay attention to where your focus drifts off to, and then consciously direct it where you want it to be. Now, this can represent you have an emotional loss here. I did see the 3 cups, 3 cards deep in the overall energy. And in a case like that, these 3 cups can represent the togetherness. Us being together has been spilled and we've lost it. The 3 cups in this case can also reference a third party being brought in, and that could be the thing that spilled this and caused the loss of this connection here. And those 2 cups in that case would represent that there's another connection looming in the background. But again, I think the important piece for you is to control your focus. Central to the clarifiers of this Queen of Cups is the King of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. This represents the conscious mind. This is the chief decision maker of the deck. This is logic and reason and common sense. The King of Swords, when he makes decisions, this is the dude who throws emotions right out the window. He doesn't give 2 shits what anybody feels. He's looking only at what he can see in front of him. What can he verify to be true? He's interested in the truth and the facts of the matter. Now, if this is representing your person, it could represent that you're dealing with somebody who's emotionally distant, emotionally detached, maybe even cold and calculated in their decisions. This could also be a reference that you've got all these emotion cards right here. And even this High Priestess below the surface, she's the source of all the emotions. In the tarot deck, notice how her blue gown representing water flows off the edge of the card like a waterfall. So she's literally the source of all emotions and all intuition in the deck. She's the source of the entire cup suit. And in, psychology and even physiology, the emotions come from the unconscious mind. Like, you don't wake up and go, oh, it's nice outside, I think I'm going to choose to be happy today. You feel emotions. You don't get to pick them in most cases. Now, you can influence them by directing where your focus is placed, but you can't directly control them. But I have all of these emotion cards here, and you being emotionally guarded and probably emotionally hurt. And this is the energy of tossing the emotions out the window. He doesn't let his emotions influence his decision making. What he does is toss them out the window and look at the truth and the facts and what can I see and verify. And I'm going to decide based on that and not how I feel. I feel like part of this, because this is shared energy affecting you both, there's part of that is information for you, but then part of it is probably your person, and you're dealing with somebody who does not have the same level of emotional attachment that you do, and they're probably making decisions that are in their best interest instead of what's best for you or best for the connection. Especially when it's right here beside the Emperor. This is Aries major arcana energy. This is an energy of taking control, taking charge of a situation, being in control. It's a control energy, but it's about being in control. This is someone who has all the tools, abilities, and resources to put together a plan to get what they want and then execute that plan to get what they want. Like, they're the ones that make the rules, they call the shots, they set the boundaries, they decide how this is going to work. And when you got that kind of an energy combined with somebody who can be emotionally distant or detached or even cold, not looking like we're in the most pleasant of spots emotionally there. That's the shared energy. Like I said, it doesn't always affect you the same way. So I will come back to that as I go through your energy. I will come back to it again as I go through your person so I can see how it applies to each of you. For you, the first card is the most important. You got the Tower. Central for your energy is the Knight of Pentacles. And then your final card came out as 2. We get the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant. The Tower. I said buckle up at the beginning, and it's looking like you might need to. The Tower is the sudden collapse of some important structure in your life. Now, whether that's the collapse of the relationship or the collapse of the belief system that you had around the relationship, something important for you is coming crashing down all around you. And once the Tower moment happens, nothing is going to be the same after that. Kind of like, think about it in terms of like your neighbor's house has a gas leak and it explodes. It's going to be fragments and toothpicks all over the place. That's not going to automatically go back together. In fact, you're going to have to bulldoze the thing and build a new house. And that's kind of what this is about. It's the sudden upheaval, the sudden collapse of something important. Tell me about the Tower, please. Why is that the first card? Below the surface of this Tower, 8 of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy of work, putting in the work, the time, effort, and energy on something to get what you want. This is looking like the collapse of everything you've worked on here with this person. Below the surface of that is the 7 of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of options and choices and confusion about those options and choices. There are a lot of cups here. There are a lot of different ways you could choose to go here. And this is about not wanting to make a mistake and pick the wrong cup. But there are a lot of emotions involved here. And the clouds of smoke around all the cups can represent confusion. It can represent the emotions clouding your vision, clouding your judgment, clouding your decision making, putting you in a state where I don't really know exactly what's going on. All I know is I have a choice here and I don't want to mess up and choose the wrong thing. Don't want to mess up all the work that I've put in. The other thing that this can represent is if this is some of your person's energy, and this is very common in my readings, a lot of times this first column will have a lot to do with your person and their stuff showing up over here in that most important column because whatever they're doing is affecting you strongly. So another meaning to the 7 of Cups can represent that your person has other options and choices. I've got 6 of Pentacles, merchant giving to 2, Ace of Pentacles, new physical opportunity, 3 of Cups, third party being involved. That could be exactly why we're having a Tower moment here. Below the surface of that, we have the Strength card. This is Leo Major Arcana energy. This is about you're going through some very difficult situation that is forcing you to dig down deep inside yourself and find all of your internal strength. It's forcing you to find it and tap into it and put it to use to make it through this. The other thing that this card can reference is you see the lady in the white gown trying to tame the lion. She represents your conscience, like your ability to tell right from wrong, to know what you should and shouldn't do. And the lion represents those primal urges and instincts and desires that we have. And this would represent trying to tame that beast inside myself, trying to rein a piece of myself in and hold it back and not let that part of myself cause me to rush off and do something stupid that I would regret later. So this is some form of an internal struggle. Now, again, that could be a piece of your person. Maybe they know that they're not supposed to act on their impulses and their urges and their desires, and they tried to contain it, but they couldn't. It could also be, I've put in all this work and now I'm confused about what to even do, and I'm struggling with that. Especially when we've got a Tower as what we're clarifying right now. When I clarify the Tower, I get the 10 of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 7 of Wands. The 10 of Swords is Gemini energy. This is a swift, painful ending. Sometimes it's an ending you don't see coming, which is why the swords are in this person's back. If they saw it coming, they'd be in their front. Sometimes this represents an ending in betrayal, hence getting stabbed in the back. But no matter how you slice this, this is an ending to something. It's an ending. The Tower is the abrupt collapse of something. We have something coming to an end, possibly with betrayal attached to it. Next, we have the Wheel of Fortune. In terms of zodiac signs, this is the 4 fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. This represents either a change in the luck and fortune. In other words, if things were going great and this card comes out, that's that pivotal moment where it took the unexpected left turn and wrapped around a telephone pole. This can also represent a repeating cycle of something happening again and again. So take that part however that applies to your situation. I'm not going to tell you to take it as it resonates or take what resonates and leave the rest, because that's absolutely terrible advice. Telling someone to take what resonates and leave the rest is literally telling you to just cherry pick the parts of this that sound good, that tell you what you want to hear, and anything that doesn't, like this Tower and this 10 of Swords, let's just throw that right out the window because that part doesn't resonate for me. That's not how tarot works. I know you'll hear tons and tons of readers tell you that exact phrase, but that's fantasy tarot. That's fiction tarot. That's using tarot as like a magic window that you look through to see the future or something. And that's not what tarot is. Tarot is a mirror, and it reflects your stuff back to you. It reflects your situation, your patterns, what's happening, your emotions. It reflects that back to you so you can see it clearly and make decisions that are in your own best interest, and then take actions that are in your own best interest. Sometimes they'll tell you too that this card represents divine timing, or, you know, the universe turning the wheel in the background to make sure everything lines up the way that you want it to. And that's also fantasy. That's also fiction. That's not how life works. The universe isn't in the background doing everything for you and delivering it to you like some cosmic Amazon delivery driver. Spirit doesn't do that. This is not about fate or destiny being in control and everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. That's not what this card means. It's not what it's ever meant. That's just the fantasy story that most readers try to tell you to keep you watching more and more and more videos. If I tell you this means divine timing, well, that means next week when nothing happens, you're going to come back to watch another video, and then I'll get paid again. And I'm not doing that to people. That's not what this card means. We have free will. So this idea that everything is fated, like your future is already a pre-written script that's stored in the sky somewhere, that's not reality. Your choices have an impact on your life. And if you don't think they do, then think about this for a minute. Imagine being on the top of a 10-story building. If fate has already been determined, if your future has already been determined, that would literally mean you could jump off that 10-story building and it would have no effect on your life. But we both know that's not true. If you did that, you'd splatter on the ground and it's the end of the story then. So this doesn't mean fate or destiny. It might mean that argument between fate and free will, but we have free will. This, in this case, is either talking about that pivotal moment where this all came to an end, or it's talking about a repeating cycle happening, attached either to that ending, or maybe this has ended at some point in the past and then we went for another lap. Next card we've got is the 7 of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is defensive energy. Now, everything I've just said, if you came to this tarot reading because what you're looking for is to have someone tell you what you want to hear, or to twist the meanings of the cards to force fit it into this positive story that makes everything come out as a happy ending, you might be experiencing this energy right now, because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. It's not my job to sugarcoat the cards and twist the meanings of the cards and force it to tell you what you want. It's not my job to validate anyone's fantasy. It's my job to get you the truth that you need, so you can face it and make decisions and take actions based on actual clarity, not on some fogged up fantasy that someone put in your head. So this might mean that you're experiencing some resistance to what I'm saying here, and you might be getting defensive. But a lot of times this will represent defending my position, defending my stance on something, being willing to fight to protect something that's important to me, something that I want really bad. A lot of times I'll get this card when the other person is ducking and dodging and bobbing and weaving and telling you, "No, I didn't do that. No, it's not me. It's not my fault this took the wrong turn and wrapped around the telephone pole. It's not my fault that this came to an end." It could be that, But it could also represent that you want to go for another lap and you want to repeat the cycle and you want to defend this connection and fight for it. Especially if you have all those emotions involved and you've put in all this work that you don't want to go to waste. But with this Five of Cups, that's what that 3 spilled cups represents. All the time, effort, and energy that's already been spilled and wasted. There's this idea in psychology. It's the sunk cost fallacy, where people don't want to quit on something because they've already invested so much time, effort, and energy, so much emotions into it. So I used to be a poker player. I considered going pro at one point. I played that much. And you'll see people make that mistake when they're playing poker, and they'll lose all of the money they brought to the table. And instead of stopping, they're like, well, I've already invested $300 here. Let me go get more money and win my money back. But that never works. That just makes them lose $300 more. And they call that throwing good money after bad. And if we're trying to defend and fight for another lap here, that's throwing good emotions after bad. Central for your energy is the Knight of Pentacles. This is the slowest knight in the deck. It's very slow, monotonous forward movement, very frustrating energy. A lot of times I'll get this when somebody wants something so bad and they wanted it like yesterday, but instead of getting that speed, they're getting this very slow drip, like one foot in front of the other. It's so slow and frustrating because it seems like nothing's actually moving. The other thing that this card can represent is a person who knows what they're supposed to do, but they're not doing it for some reason. So again, take that however it applies to you. But let's clarify it and see what else we can find out for you. Okay. 2 more, please. Take an extra one, no problem. Well, below the surface of that Knight of Pentacles is the Hanged Man. Wow. This is Pisces energy, and it represents progress being halted. No forward movement is happening. Things are stuck. They're at a full stop, dead standstill. Now, the Knight of Pentacles, I'm trying to go back to this card because when someone is going through this Knight of Pentacles energy, it really feels like nothing's happening. It's kind of like watching my hair grow. Like, we both know technically my hair is growing right now. You just can't see it happen because it's happening so slow. You could stare at my hair all day and not see anything happen. But if you came back in 2 weeks, my hair would be a little bit longer than it is now, and you'd be able to tell, yeah, something actually was moving. It just didn't seem like it. So it's really hard to tell the difference when you're going through this Knight of Pentacles between slow movement and no movement. Things are stuck. And this might be an indicator that you think maybe things are making progress. It's just not happening very fast. But this looks like there is no real progress happening. Now, the Hanged Man hangs upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different perspective than he normally would, a different point of view than he normally would. And he's doing that because he's stuck and he's trying to figure out, what has me stuck? What do I need to make adjustments to so I can get unstuck and move forward? But the key thing about that is he's looking at things from a different perspective. Things are external to us. They're outside of us. They're not inside of us. So he's not looking inside of himself for what adjustments do I need to make about me so I can move forward. That's what the Hermit does. This is looking outside of me. What out here has me stuck? What out here has the need for some adjustments to be made to it? Now, sometimes this indicates that the thing that actually has this stuck is external to you. In this case, that would probably be your person here has it stuck. This is a lot of times someone who is not looking at their role in the situation. They're playing the blame game. They're playing the role of the helpless victim. Like, well, it's not my fault this is stuck. It's this person's fault it's stuck, or it's that person's fault, or it's this situation's fault. It's something else that's not me that's got this stuck. Now, I'm not saying that that's you that has it stuck. Not at all. What I am saying is if you think this has got the potential to continue moving forward, this is saying, no, it doesn't. This is saying, no, it doesn't. The Tower is saying it's collapsed already. The Ten of Swords is saying this is ended already. Normally, this kind of goes in chronological order where this has already happened, and the closer I get to your final card, the more and more current the energy is starting to get. It's not always that way, but it usually is that way. This might be your person. This might be them saying, well, the whole reason this came apart isn't my fault. I'm ducking and dodging and deflecting all of that. It's not my fault. It's your fault that this happened. It's something else's fault other than the person who actually caused it. The other thing that seems to be stuck below the surface of that Hanged Man is the Hierophant, Taurus energy. This is a card of commitment. It's about being fully committed in a relationship reading. It's about being fully committed to the relationship, taking it to the next level. That usually involves like moving in together, living together, engagement, marriage. This is considered a marriage card. So it could be that the marriage has come to a complete halt, or the commitment itself has come to a complete halt. And behind the surface of that is the Star. This is Aquarius Major Arcana energy. This is a card of hope. It's a card of healing. It's sometimes a card of wish fulfillment. But it's also the card that comes immediately after the Tower in the sequence of the Major Arcana. So you don't make it to the Star energy without the collapse of the Tower happening first. This is supposed to represent the hope for the future moving forward. Where most people get this twisted is most tarot readers will tell you that this is the hope that the relationship gets put back together, and to maintain your hope because this is an indicator that it is going to get back together. And that is complete and utter bullshit. That's not what this card means. Even the whole idea of predicting the future with tarot cards is ridiculous on its face. These cards are not a window, a magic window you can look through to see what's going to happen. Because what's going to happen hasn't happened yet. Your future is not predetermined. Your future is dictated in the moments of your decisions and the actions you take or don't take. And this card is about the hope for the future moving forward. It's the hope that the way things are now can get better. The way my life is now can get better. This relationship that has come to an end, I can get a new one. I can rebuild after the collapse of something. So this is about the hope moving forward. That doesn't always line up with how a person is actively viewing their situation at the time. This could be a case where, well, I'm not doing something that I know I'm supposed to be doing, and instead of doing the thing I know I should be, I'm still trying to figure out how to get this commitment unstuck and heal it and hope that we can make it right. So again, take that however it applies to you. But when I clarify this Nine of Pentacles, I get the Page of Pentacles, the Six of Wands, the Devil, and the Three of Cups. Pages are messengers. So they represent news and messages and communications. And this particular page represents the pentacles, the physical world, this physical tangible opportunity presenting itself. So it could be communications about an opportunity. Also, I have to notice that we're going from the Knight of Pentacles backwards to the Page of Pentacles. So the physical part of this is rescinding. It's going backwards here. It's depleting. This can also represent someone having an early stage plan for their future that's not fully developed all the way yet. Either way, that idea of either a plan that's not developed all the way is tied to the Ten of Swords, a swift ending to that plan. This could also, like I said, represent communications about physical opportunity, and that could be the thing that led to the ending here, especially if this is really representing giving to two people, a new physical opportunity. There's the communications that happened in order to lead to that physical opportunity, and behind it is that third cup of love. So that's what it's looking like to me, especially with what I'm seeing over here, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself yet. Hang with me and we will get there. Next card to clarify this Knight of Pentacles is the Six of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is a card of recognition. So sometimes that means having the spotlight shined on you and being recognized for something, getting a pat on the back for a job well done. More often than not, this represents you coming to some sort of a recognition about the situation you're in. Maybe you're recognizing they're communicating with somebody else about physical opportunities. Maybe you're recognizing it's tied to this wheel of fortune that things have changed and this is different now. This thing has wrapped around the telephone pole. Could even be recognizing something about this idea of repeating cycle happening. Next, we have the Devil. This is Capricorn's major arcana card. This is a heavy toxic energy. This represents obsession, addiction, a feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from it, feeling like this other thing has control over me and I don't have any control over it. There's two energies of control in tarot. We've got one of them out here in the shared energy, the Emperor, and the other one is this Devil card. This Emperor is about being in control yourself. The Devil is about something else being in control of you and feeling powerless over it, feeling like there's nothing I can do about it. And if you notice, the people on the card are the same two people from the Lover's card, but here they've got chains around their neck. They're chained to this podium the Devil sits on. They've grown horns and tails, and that represents being in a toxic environment, a toxic connection for so long that it's starting to change who you are. It's starting to distort pieces of you. This is a distorted energy, and this energy tends to distort other things. Imagine for a second if I'm covered head to toe in mud and I give you a big hug. Well, you're going to get mud on you. And likewise, if you get into a connection with someone who has these toxic elements to them, you're going to get that toxicity on you too. It's going to change pieces of you too, and there's no way around that. The other thing this card represents is an unhealthy attachment to something, an unhealthy connection, a toxic connection, an unhealthy fixation on something, an unhealthy fixation on wanting to move forward. Could even be that you're recognizing some either toxic element about this connection and what it's doing to you, or maybe there's a piece of yourself that you don't want to look at right now. Like the Devil is one of those energies that only has the power over us that we willingly give to it by refusing to face it and deal with it. And these people aren't really trapped. The chains around their necks are just loops, and they could take the loop off of their head anytime they want and walk away. They just don't realize they can because their head's in the loop and they can't see it anymore. So this is usually not really a case where you're stuck and you're trapped by something that's beyond your control. It's usually a false belief about not having any control. There's also potentially something here that's unhealthy about wanting to defend this connection, wanting to continue fighting for it. That's one of the big problems that I see so many people run into when they watch a lot of tarot readings on YouTube, is it makes them want to fight for the connection. They hear all this bullshit about divine timing and the universe is fixing Billy in the background so he comes back to you calm and correct, and it's not how it works. And then it gets people stuck in a situation that they should have detached from and moved on. It makes them want to defend and fight for it still, when what the fantasy tells you is what you want to hear. It's really comforting, but that keeps you trapped. And what you have to stop doing, if you're doing it, is looking at the fantasy versus the reality that you can see already. That's why we've got this King of Swords and the shared energy. It's not about how you feel or what you want to feel or what you wish were true. It's about what factually is true. What do you know already? And if you're feeling negative emotions, this is telling you to toss the emotions out the window and look at what reality is already showing you. It's not about looking at what you want to happen, but looking at the behavior that you've been shown. And we've got toxicity here with the Devil card, and the very next card we're seeing in the clarifiers is the Three of Cups, and we've already seen that 3 cards deep in the overall energy. Again, Cancer energy, and it can represent being united and celebrating. If that's the case, there's toxicity in that union. It can also represent being reunited, as in like reconciling and getting back together and celebrating that, which could be something that you're fixated on and emotionally attached to on an unhealthy level. But this can also represent a third party love triangle, because we've got 3 cups of love in the picture, and that could be the toxic thing that's causing all the problems here. And it could be a case where they're defending and blocking and, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And it could also be a case that even though this is the factual evidence that you're seeing in this situation in your reality, could be a case of like, no, I want to fight for this. I want to fight to get it back because I can't let go of it. I can't detach from it. Again, take that however it applies to you. Final card for you here. We got 2. We got the Hierophant and the 10 of Pentacles. The Hierophant, we've already seen it in the underlying energy here. It's that Taurus energy of commitment, being fully committed to the relationship, taking it to the next level. This doesn't have to be legally married, although it can be. This can just be you are fully committed to this relationship. And that's paired with the 10 of Pentacles, and that's Virgo energy. The 10 of Pentacles is about combining lives together, like combining the assets and resources of 2 people or 2 families to build a stable, abundant, prosperous life together. This is most people's goal in the physical world. This is also sometimes referred to as a marriage card. I've got combined together life, fully committed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you are legally married. It just could mean that you live together, you've already built a life together, and you're committed to that. Which would make a lot of sense about why I feel like I can't detach from this, why I feel like I need to turn it around even though it's collapsed and come apart already. It could be why you want to fight for it so badly, and that your goal is to ultimately get back together and balance it out. But again, that is something that your emotions are attached to. And what this King of Swords is really about is detach from the feelings and look at the truth and the facts. Look at what reality is showing you, not what your emotions are showing you, not what projections are showing you, not what fantasy is showing you. Let's clarify this Hierophant 10 of Pentacles, please. Got 1 flip in the deck here. Let's get 1 more, please. Get 1 more. Okay. Below the surface of the Hierophant and the 10 of Pentacles, we get the Hierophant again from the other deck. So again, hammering me with commitment, fully committed to this, probably already combined lives together with them. If not, it's definitely going down the path to that. That could be the thing that you're hoping for. I got the star again right behind it. Hoping that we can heal this commitment, hoping we can get to the commitment that maybe you'd already envisioned the future of in your mind. And that could be your wish fulfillment. But again, you don't make it to the star without the Tower already happening. And it's your first card, so it's the most important position. It seems to be hammering in this that look at the reality that this is already collapsed. It's already come apart. It's already ended. There is no going back after that. This is supposed to be the hope for the future moving forward. When I take a look at the clarifiers for the Hierophant and the 10 of Pentacles, I get the Knight of Swords, the 9 of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the deck. This is rushing forward and taking this very fast, decisive action on something. Most of the time, this ain't the dude who reads the instructions first. This is the dude who just rushes off and does something, and they don't think about it until after they've already done it, which by that point, it's too late. So some sort of a decisive action was taken. It's running back this direction toward this Knight of Pentacles, communications about a physical opportunity. and it leads to this Ten of Swords, swift, painful ending you didn't see coming, ending in betrayal. This is probably not necessarily your energy. It's probably their energy, where they did something spur of the moment and spontaneous and didn't think it through first. There might be a repeating cycle of that, a repeating pattern of that. This could also be an indicator of, I became fully committed to this person and a combined together life with this person before I really thought that through all the way, because it's possible that you've seen a repeating pattern of toxic behavior from them. In fact, these two cards together, the Devil and the Wheel of Fortune, are what I call the karmic hamster wheel, which is about going through something incredibly painful, and instead of learning the lesson from that, going for another lap and repeating it and going through something painful again because I stayed attached to a person who has toxic energy, toxic behaviors, have an unhealthy attachment to them, which causes me to want to go for another lap. I do have to say, this Knight of Pentacles can represent a person who knows what they should do, but they don't for some reason. And it could also be that maybe you didn't think it through all the way first before you got wrapped up into a commitment with that type of a person. Could just mean they did something stupid, spur of the moment, and wrecked everything too. So again, take it how it applies. Nine of Swords is the next clarifier for the Hierophant and Ten of Pentacles. This is Gemini energy. This is fear, worry, and anxiety. This is thinking about something over and over and over again with all this fear and worry behind your thinking, and doing that to the point that it stresses you out. This can represent sleepless nights, can't concentrate, can't eat. Notice the person on the card has their hands covering their eyes, because in their mind, this situation is so bad that they don't want to face it. They don't want to look at it, which again, like I said with the Devil, this situation only has the power over you that you give to it by refusing to face it, by refusing to look at it, by refusing to see the truth about the reality in front of you. Now, it could also be here that this person ran off and did something stupid really fast and didn't think it through, and now they're fearful and worried and anxious that you are going to find out, that you are going to recognize them with this Six of Wands. But it's also highly probable that this ain't the first time that kind of shit has happened with this person either. Final clarifier for the Hierophant Ten of Pentacles is the Queen of Wands. This is Aries energy. This is bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what she wants. She typically doesn't take no for an answer. This is that kind of chick that's going to get what she wants one way or another. If you can't provide it to me, I'll find someone that will. The other thing this card means a lot, especially because you're an air sign and not a fire sign. Usually when I get this card for anybody but an Aries or a fire sign, I guess, this represents the other woman, the woman that there's all this passion and desire and attraction for, all this sexual energy toward. Could be that there's fear, worry, and anxiety because you can't stop thinking about her. Could be you recognize something that changed things. It could also be talking about your own desire for them not necessarily being the healthiest of things. Something that's like got you bound up and feeling trapped and controlled by how bad you want them, and feeling like you want to fight for the connection with that Seven of Wands in the same row. Could also be your person's got some toxic patterns that they run, some toxic behavior where they're always going after this new chick that's attractive to them. Either way, this attractive person that there's all this passion, desire for, leads us to the Three of Cups, which again, we've already seen 3 cards deep here. This could be what you really, really, really want, is reconciliation, wanting to fight for this even though it's unhealthy. But this could also just be a reference to this is your third party. This Queen of Wands is your third party. I read these to you in columns, and then I connect it in rows on my way down, and your final row has got a void and the Three of Cups here. So either that means I didn't have any information on her. I didn't have any information on this third party, and then suddenly, bam, here's the information on the third party, which would explain this Knight of Swords really abrupt action taking. Or it could mean that I don't have any information whatsoever in factual reality that tells me we're going to get back together. Could be either of those things. I do see that your focus is probably in the wrong spot, which is why you're feeling negative emotions. And if your focus is on, let's heal this relationship, let's keep this commitment and this idea of a combined together life, let's figure out a way to super glue the exploded building back together and fix it all, let's fight for this toxic connection because I want it really bad. That's an unhealthy level of attachment with the Devil and the Queen of Wands. Could just be that I'm bound up in my emotions, and my emotions are causing me to focus on something that I shouldn't be focused on, instead of focusing on what I could be happy about. And maybe I'm not listening to logic and reason and truth and facts here, because I'm trying so hard to control the collapse of this tower, to not let that be the end. So look at your person's energy here. When I look at your person, their first card is the most important, and they get the Seven of Swords. Central for them, Two of Cups. And the final card for them is the Six of Wands. Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. This is lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something that they shouldn't be trying to get away with. Let's clarify that here. Like, again, overall energy. Merchant giving to 2 with the Six of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles behind it. Physical opportunity. A new physical opportunity presenting itself. And the Three of Cups. Third party love triangle happening. So that same Three of Cups as that one lonely card in your fourth row all by itself. Third party connected directly to the other woman with this Queen of Wands. Take a look at the Seven of Swords, please. Why is that here as the first card? Below the surface of that Seven of Swords, Eight of Pentacles. Virgo energy of work. Putting in the work, time, effort, and energy to get what they want. Or at the minimum, being willing to put in the work. This is talking to me about what they are working on. Sneaking around. Could also reference literal work, as in their job. As could be they're sneaking around with someone that they work with. Below the surface of that work, we get this Seven of Cups. Isn't that the exact same order it came out for you when I clarified your tower? Like, not wanting all the work you'd put in to be collapsed and gone and wasted, and then being confused. Well, what they're working on here is options and choices. And in this case, it really feels like these clouds of smoke aren't so much emotions clouding their judgment, although I guess it could be if they're in a relationship and a commitment with you and they're doing stupid shit like sneaking around and lying and cheating. It could be they're all really clouded up and their decision making is all screwed up right now. Clouded judgment type of a thing. But this could just as easily be, look, I got a bunch of other cups. I got options. I got choices. I got another person who I'm getting emotions and love from. I got another person who I'm getting passion and desire and sexual energy from. And I'm trying to blow a smoke screen around those other options so you can't see it. And in the meantime, I'm already acting on it. And I'm fearful and worried that you're going to find out, that you're going to, Six of Wands, recognize that. And now it's going to change everything. Could be either of those. There's nothing that says it can't be both of those things at the same time. And it's just two different layers to the story here. When I clarify Seven of Swords, I get the Knight of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Four of Wands. Knight of Wands is the second fastest moving knight in the deck. The only one faster is this Knight of Swords. This Knight of Wands is sometimes called the player of the tarot deck. It's someone who goes rushing forward all passion and desire focused, taking these rapid, passionate actions on something they have passion and desire for. It's called the player of the deck because a lot of times this will be someone who rushes in and tells you everything you want to hear in order to get what they want. And then they turn around and rush off a whole different direction and run that same game on some other person and tell them everything they want to hear to get what they want. And then they bebop back and forth between both of you, playing both sides of the fence, which, again, overall energy, Six of Pentacles, can represent the merchant giving to two. New opportunity is here. This is the dude that when his wand stands up and points at something, he's got to rush off and find out what's it pointing at and what can I do about that. Which there's the opportunity with that Ace of Pentacles and the Three Cups of Love there. I'm seeing it all over the place. This person is not honest with you. They're not emotionally invested in it the same way you are. Not this commitment, not this idea of combined together life. Notice we've seen Queen of Cups out here, but no King of Cups. Man, at the minimum, like, I see commitment in your energy here. Hierophant, commitment. Saw it when I clarified that. It was on the bottom of the deck for you. Commitment, combined together life, commitment was there again. This is a non-committal energy, this Knight of Wands. This is a person who might start off at the beginning saying all the right things, doing all the right things. They seem really gung-ho and driven and motivated. But this is the type of person that something happens and now they change their mind and they go a whole different direction. It's like that flip-flop back and forth. Can't really keep my mind made up. Can't stay fully committed to what I said I wanted, which is how you get to this Seven of Swords and sneaking around and that kind of crap. Next, I get the Ace of Cups, which is a new beginning in love and emotions. This is the new person. As soon as the new opportunity, the new physical opportunity to get some lovey-dovey stuff going on pops up, boom, they're rushing off that direction. Next, we get the Four of Wands, Aries energy. Fours are supposed to be about stability. So this would be stability of the home life, stability of the family life, stability of the connection between the two of you. These Four Wands can also represent 1111, which is the number of manifesting, as in this thing that I want. Like the story of manifesting is the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands, and the Four of Wands. So in the two, you have to decide. It's the choice about what do I want for my life and which path is going to get me there. In the Three of Wands, you've already made the decision and you're now taking actions. You're going down the path that you believe leads you to what you want. Only you don't have the thing yet. It hasn't shown up yet because you're still working toward it, making progress toward it. And in the Four of Wands, you can see the people are celebrating here. This is the celebration of the arrival of the thing that I want. And the thing that I want is this new cup of love. This thing that I want is to be able to run back and forth between you and this new cup of love. And in order to get that, the actions that I had to take were to lie, cheat, sneak around, lie to you, sneak off and do shit that I'm not supposed to be doing. I got this Emperor here. I got this King of Swords here in the shared energy, this cold, calculated decision making, throwing emotions out the window. You've got all the emotions and they toss those out the window to get what they want. To put the Emperor is to put together the plan to get what I want, to execute the plan to get what I want, to maintain control. Central for their energy, Two of Cups, Cancer energy. This is an emotional connection between two people. It's also a two. And in tarot, twos represent choices. So this can be a choice about the connection with you. It can be a choice between two different cups of love. I got the new cup of love right here, and I got that first, and I acted on it already, and I lied and snuck around, and now that I've already done that, now I'm getting to that spot where maybe I'm going to make a choice here. The correct way to do that is if I don't want to be with you anymore, I should end it with you first. And then after that, then I should go find the next person. And they didn't do it that way. They found the next person. They went with that person. They did things with that person. They bebopped back and forth between the two of you. And then they came to the spot where like, yeah, maybe I should choose here. Like that's part of the reality that you're supposed to be looking at. The truth and the facts, not the feelings. Not what you want to be or what you wish would happen. Not the fantasy, not the future you've created in your mind that you're trying to get to. Look at their behavior. What have they already shown you factually to be true? Not what did some other tarot reader tell you when they're projecting their fantasy point of view onto the cards. Not the story they told because they want you to come back and watch next week's video when their predictions don't come true, and now they want you to come back to see the next update. Look at reality in front of you. These cards are here to reflect your situation to you, to reflect your emotions, your patterns, what's really going on. It's here to reflect that to you, not meant to look at some fantasy future that is just made up, because that's what most tarot readers do. They make up the story that they think the most number of people want to hear, and that's how they get repeat viewers, and repeat viewers means more and more ad revenue. Make no mistake about it, we all get paid to put these videos out. Always keep that in mind. Let's clarify this Two of Cups here and see what this choice is about their connection. Man. Below the surface of that Two of Cups, the Hanged Man, Pisces energy, progress is halted, no forward movements happening, things are stuck, full stop, dead standstill. Again, he hangs upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view, a different perspective. He's looking at things, not at himself. This is not the person who's accepting their role in the situation that I'm reading about. They're not accepting their role in the Tower, or the ending, or the betrayal, or the repeating patterns of what they're doing. They're defending against that, ducking and dodging, deflecting, nuh-uh, not me, not my fault. But there's the toxicity. That's part of their pattern. That's part of how they maintain control. And see, even with the Devil and the Emperor both out here, if I have just the Emperor, that's a person who is taking charge, taking control. They are in control. When I got the Devil with it, there's something else in control. And that kind of a person will go from being in control to being controlling. They will try to control you. They will try to control the storyline, the narrative, the situation around them. They will try to overcompensate by trying to control everything and everyone around them simply because they don't have control of a piece of themselves. And that piece of themselves is running the show. And even though that's probably true for this person, it's also probably true because the Devil is on your side of the table, that you still have some unhealthy attachment to them. And that can be make it very difficult to face the truth about someone like this. It can make it very difficult to look at their behavior instead of the emotions that you're feeling. It can be very difficult, which is why you have the Nine of Swords and covering your eyes, because you don't want to face that reality. And I get it. I've been in that spot before, so I get it. I didn't want to face it either, but life doesn't improve until you do face it, until you do deal with it. When I clarify the Two of Cups, I get the Star, the Sun, the Six of Pentacles again, and the Seven of Swords again. The Star, Aquarius major arcana energy, hope, healing, wish fulfillment. Look what their wish fulfillment is attached to. 2 cups of love. Not just you, 2. It's sitting directly beside the player of the deck. Their wish fulfillment is to have 2. and to run back and forth between them and be able to do whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want to do it. And I don't need to give two shits how anyone feels about that, because I'm detached emotionally. I'm in control. I make the rules and I'm calling the shots. Man. The Sun is their next card. Happiest card in the deck. This is Leo Major Arcana energy. This is happiness, bliss, harmony. Can't really get a better card than that, except for the fact that what their happiness is attached to is the thing they were hoping for, which is two people that I could run back and forth between. Also, directly beside this happiness card is the new cup of love that showed up. The new person that showed up. The other meaning to the Sun, besides happiness, is this is the card that comes after the moon in the sequence of the major arcana. And when the moon's out, it's dark outside. You can't see your own hand in front of your face. So it's very likely that something is hidden in the dark. There's something that you don't see yet, something hidden from you, some secret being kept. Well, the next step is the sun comes up, and now it's not dark anymore, which means whatever was being hidden in the dark gets illuminated. It gets exposed. It gets the light shined on it, and it's not hidden anymore. You can see it. And the thing that's getting exposed is the new cup of love. I don't know yet if you are already fully aware. I would assume you are, because the King of Swords is the top of the line of the sword suit. He knows what the hell's going on around him. He knows it. He knows. So I would assume you know, but I would also assume that if you know and you don't want that to be the case, that you're trying to not see that. Because if you do see that, and if you recognize it for what it is, and you decide to move forward out of this unhealthy attachment here, you can't really go for another lap. You can't really continue fighting for the connection. And honestly, what it's showing me here is it's already collapsed. Once the tower happens, nothing's the same after that. You don't put the tower back together. You move on. 10 of Swords. Like, this dude has 10 swords in his back. He's deader than a doornail. He's not going to go to the hospital and get a couple of stitches and be back just fine at work tomorrow. He's dead. Doesn't matter how much he wants to go for another lap on something. He's dead. And that's what it feels like that this is saying. If you look at the truth and the facts of it, you'll recognize it. And then this is about loss. It's about grief. And again, I'm sorry I have to keep going back to what you see so frequently in tarot readings on YouTube. But as long as they tell you that the Wheel of Fortune means divine timing, as long as they tell you it means the universe or spirit is working on them in the background and eventually it's going to happen because it's supposed to, as long as they keep you in that, it keeps you in the unhealthy attachment. It doesn't let you free. It doesn't allow you to grieve. And until you grieve, you can't release it. You can't move on. That's part of the grieving process. And I think that's what it's saying. Face the facts. It's time to grieve the ending of this. That's how you get back in control. Not by trying to make it work. Not by trying to change a person who you can't change. Like, have you ever tried to change anything about yourself? Like, try to quit smoking, trying to quit chewing your nails, trying to quit some bad habit that you have, or trying to start some new habit like exercise and maybe you don't really like doing it, trying to change your eating, anything like that? And you know how fucking hard that is to do? And it's you. Like, it's hard to change yourself. The odds that you have of changing this person are zero. It's not going to work that way, and it never does. You're just going to get their toxic bullshit all over you. And you already have at some level. It's just, are you going to get off the hamster wheel, or are you going to keep running your little heart out and not get anywhere? After when I clarify this Two of Cups, the next clarifier is the Six of Pentacles, which again is the overall energy of the reading. And now you can see what I mean by the Merchant here giving to two people in the physical sense. And notice he's got one of them hidden behind his back. That's why he's sneaking around with this Seven of Swords. He's being a player with this Knight of Wands, bebopping back and forth between you and the new person. Even though there is a stable thing with you. Like, there's 3 cards in the deck that generally mean marriage or like heavy duty, we live together type commitment. And right there is all 3 of them. The 10 of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the 4 of Wands. Final clarifier for this choice about either the connection with you or a choice about 2 different people is the Seven of Swords again. So here again, I'm using 2 decks. And in both decks, I have the Six of Pentacles, the Merchant giving to 2. In both decks, I have the Seven of Swords, lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around, trying to get away with something. And 3 cards deep in the overall energy is the Three of Cups. And I have the other one out here on your side of the table as the only card that has nothing to go with it. If this person isn't a liar and a cheat, if they're not giving to 2 people, if they don't have another person involved, then I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Final card in your person's energy is the Six of Wands. So that brings us to another card that we have out here in both decks. Now, this Six of Wands on your side is literally the center card on the table for you. It's Leo energy. It's recognition. It's either having the spotlight shined on them and them getting recognized for something, or them coming to some kind of a recognition. And what I'm hoping is that is you finally recognizing the toxicity about them, the unhealthiness of the attachment with them, the unhealthiness of the connection with them. I hope it's you taking your hands off of your eyes and actually looking at the reality in front of you. Tell me more about Six of Wands, please. Below the surface of that, Eight of Pentacles, Virgo energy, work, putting in the work, time, effort, and energy to get what I want, being willing to put in the work. I think you're recognizing what they've been working on is some other person. Could literally mean their work. Could be someone that they work with. Seven of Cups. Again, you've seen me shuffle this. This is the 3rd time now they have come out on the bottom of the deck in that same order. Options, choices, confusion about the options and choices, clouded judgment, clouded decision making, blowing a smoke screen so I can cover my tracks on the other options that I have and not let them be seen. Covering the tracks with the Queen of Pentacles. I don't think the Queen of Cups is necessarily you, other than that part about you having all the love and emotions for them and you being kind of forced to be emotionally guarded here. Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, but this normally represents like wife type of energy. Doesn't necessarily have to mean legally married wife, just like I said with the Hierophant and the 10 of Pentacles. But that could be representing you and the person that they have the commitment with and the person they're trying to build their life with. And look, they're working on something else that comes before you. They have other options that come before you, and they're blowing a smoke screen to cover those options up from you. And I think they might be worried because they've already acted on this. They might be worried that you recognize it. When I clarify Six of Wands, I get Two of Swords. The Empress, Queen of Cups again, Eight of Swords. Two of Swords is Libra energy. This is, again, 2s are decisions, and this is a decision that needs made, only it hasn't been made yet. Now, the person on the card is blindfolded. And they're trying to decide between these 2 swords, only they're blindfolded, so they can't see what they're doing. Now, if I'm trying to decide between these 2 things and I can't see what I'm doing because I'm blindfolded, the smart move would be to lay one of them down and take the fucking blindfold off, and now I can see, and it's an easy choice. But they're not doing that. So a lot of times this represents the willful decision to not choose. I've seen the choice over here with the 2 cups. And this is like, I'm not choosing. And why would I if you haven't recognized what's going on? It's kind of like if I'm getting 2 paychecks from my job and they don't realize it and they're both direct deposited into my bank account, it's not my obligation to tell them. When they figure it out and they want their money back, sure, I might give it to them. But this person hasn't been found out. So why would I have to choose between you and the other woman when I've already been bebopping back and forth? I can just keep doing that. It might not be that. That's a possibility. But this is oftentimes a stubborn energy where I'm not going to choose. I don't have to choose. I'm still hoping that I can run back and forth between 2 because that's my ideal scenario. That's my wish fulfillment. Not choosing until you recognize and force me to choose. And it's going to be really hard for you to force me to choose if you're covering your eyes and not wanting to see the truth of it. Next clarifier for 6 of Wands is the Empress. This is the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant, so she's always giving birth to something. She represents the birth of something new, and in a relationship reading, that's almost always the birth of a new relationship. Sitting right beside the Sun. I'm not choosing the new relationship or you. It's even in the same row with the Ace of Cups here, the new beginning in love and emotions. I've already birthed something new, and there's a tremendous amount of happiness tied to that. Also tied to that happiness is giving to 2 people and deceptive sneaking around, all that kind of fun stuff. Next clarifier for 6 of Wands is the Queen of Cups. That is, again, both decks again. So that's the shared energy affecting you both. That's Cancer energy. This is a person who has a lot of love and emotions for them, or that they receive a lot of love and emotions from, but there's a lid on the cup. So maybe this is you, and I'm not going to choose between you, the one I get love and emotions from, or this new connection that I've birthed. I'm not going to choose until somebody comes to some sort of a recognition about it. And it ain't going to be me. Man, yeah, even right beside the person that they're getting all the love from is the Merchant giving to 2. So in that row, we've got this stable home life, this stable family life, this stable connection. And then I'm giving to 2 people. You're on the other side of that here. So this is what I have with you. And in the middle, I've birthed something new that I get happiness for, a new person. Not going to choose because I'm hoping to be a player and I'm hoping to keep giving to 2 people. Damn. 8 of Swords is their final clarifier. This is Gemini energy. This is thinking about something over and over and over and over on this repeating loop in their mind and not having all the answers. Someone's blindfolded here. Damn. 2 cards in this column. Someone's blindfolded in this situation. To me, that feels like at some point they probably had you blindfolded to where you didn't actually know what was going on. And maybe when you did, it was more a feeling that something was going on, an intuition thing instead of actual truth and facts. But at some point, I think you found out. And I also think your emotions probably prevent you from actually wanting to face the truth of it. But this is them thinking about something over and over and over, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't want to do the wrong thing and step in the wrong spot and make some kind of a mistake. And it's about feeling stuck and trapped and blocked because I don't know what's the right move to make. But it's attached to this person they get the love and emotions from, which is probably you. But it's also attached to the thing I can't quit thinking about is lying and cheating and sneaking around and doing shit I'm not supposed to be doing. And even up here, that whole 7 of Swords lying and cheating thing is tied to the player of the deck. So it seems abundantly clear what type of a person that you're dealing with here. The only thing that doesn't seem abundantly clear to me is what you're going to do about that.